BC is Rohit, apparently.
Yes, Legion. Rohit is indeed BC. Wait a minute. Why does the song keep going? Excuse me. All right, everybody. Welcome to the 6th episode of Honorbound. Appreciate you all being here. Today, I have 3 very special guests. What? Wait, what?
What the hell's going on here?
What do you mean?
We're starting the podcast.
The podcast has begun. You're famous, bro. You're literally Twitch famous right now.
I was like, what the hell is this nerd doing?
Do you want to plug your channel?
Of course.
All right, we'll do it.
Twitch.tv Clutchmeister.
All right. Good plug. All right, so we have 3 very special guests, 2 returning, 1 new. Setmyx and Kai have been gracious enough to return to talk about stamina, problematic moves, and the Gladiator character. Also, we have Legion. Appreciate you being on here as well. In your busy schedule, I know it's hard to be here, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, Legion has a lot going on in his life.
Tons going on. So let's start with, for those who are wanting to know the topics, you can do !point topics, and it'll be everything that we're going to go over. So let's start with stamina. One of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is because, as everybody who plays this game knows, offense is a big problem. Not a lot of characters have viable offense. Some of it can be attributed to stamina. Some of it can be attributed to other things. There seems to be somewhat of a consensus on why stamina is a problem, but I wanted to delve into it just a little bit further. So Setmyx, let's start with you because I know you were very opinionated on this and you think stamina is trash. So let's talk to me about why stamina is a problem.
Hold on, Mr.
Wait.
Whatever. I need to ask a question first for the sake of everybody being comfortable, all right?
Okay.
So, I've just learned that 2 guys I'm going to discuss this whole thing with already have been here, so I expect those guys to treat me well and help me out in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah.
Please go on.
Legion.
Like I said, these guys are good. These are good folk. You'll be okay, Legion. You'll be okay.
Yeah, okay. Right.
Okay. All right, Setmyx, if you would like to begin.
Sure. All right. Yeah, stamina. I don't know. There's not much to say really. The thing is, stamina is a huge issue because we don't have enough of it. All parry punishes drain too much stamina on top of that. So whenever you want to go for a mix-up, and they get right on the mix-up or react properly, then you're out of stamina and you can't sustain any offense. You can't pressure anybody anymore. You're just on the back foot constantly. And on top of the lack of stamina you already have and the stamina drains from parries, there's also moves that drain stamina. Stunning tap, bashes, all those kind of things. So overall in the game, there's a bunch of things that drain your stam, and you have no way to properly regain your stamina in any way, except for waiting.
Yeah.
Don't forget
you want
those
to say anything to that, Legion?
Too.
No. Yeah.
What did you say, Kai?
Please go on.
Stamina pauses too. A lot of moves have like stamina pauses, so you get to sit there regenerating your stamina for like the next 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like people are like, oh, they're stare fast. Well, like half of that time staring is regenerating stamina.
Yeah.
Use one attack, you go back.
Yeah.
Sit for 10 seconds. You agree, Legion?
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I mean, there's also the thing that whenever you try to go for your mix-ups or use your moveset, you get punished for it more than you get rewarded for it. Not only because of the damage you deal and the damage you take if they react or guess to your mix-up properly, but you also lose your stamina, which means they will have the advantage over you even if it's not a numbers advantage. Stamina advantage is very important.
What?
Yeah. Well, and that makes sense because even some characters who may not have the best out of stamina mix-up, you're still at a pretty heavy disadvantage. So Setmyx, you talked about parrying being a problem, bashes being a problem. So is this solved by just having a bigger stamina pool, or is this something that parries taking away stamina is okay, or not, just needs to be eliminated completely?
I think bashes are fine. I think that issue would be resolved with a bigger stamina pool. Parries, however, I think it's a percentage, not a flat number. So parries are Yeah, something like that. I just know that parries are, even if you had a bigger stamina pool, since it's a percentage value, it would still drain the same amount of stamina. So it's a huge issue, even if you increase the stamina pools.
Okay.
I just have parries drain like a flat stamina value.
Pretty sure it's not. Pretty sure it's percentage.
Hold on.
No,
First of all,
it's not. I'm saying they should drain this flat
Oh
stamina.
yeah,
First
yeah.
of all,
It should be a flat
which-
number.
excuse me for interrupting, but which game mode are we kind of imagining?
All of
Just in general.
Just in general.
Yeah. So okay, so let's think of it from a 1v1 perspective, since that's what you're most comfortable with, Legion. What do you think about stamina in the 1v1 game mode?
Could you stop assuming what I'm most comfortable in? 'Cause
Okay. all right. My bad. Okay, let's talk about 1v1s. It's something you play the most, something you're very, very good at. So
excuse me? Excuse me?
Okay. Oh, is that an assumption too?
Excuse me. I'm a part of the competitive 4v4 team. I would
True.
let you know.
True.
And I'm high, like I'm big on 4v4.
All right, let's talk about 44.
Okay, then
I'm
talk
humongous.
about fours, dude. Talk about fours.
If you look at the on the monitors of satellites in NASA, you're gonna see me on 4v4. Like I'm huge. I'm huge in that area. By all means.
All right. Okay, so then talk about stamina in 4v4s. From your perspective, Legion, what do you think about stamina?
Could somebody else suck first?
Setmyx just okay. Kai, would you please discuss your opinion on stamina in the 4v4 game mode?
In fours, I mean, it's still like you still have like the same problems. Like you can go into a team fight, you throw an attack, but if you mess up, it's like whiffs drain a lot of stamina too. And then you have like 4 people who can punish you. And I think that's where bashes become more of an issue, because especially like if you get kind of separated and you use an attack, you mess up, then you get bashed, you're like nearly out of stamina, you can get like messed up pretty hard. But at the same time, you also have teammates to help you peel, which can make regaining stamina easier. But like fights are just slow, and I mean, I've always agreed with Setmyx, like higher stamina pools, lower
I always
stamina
agree with
penalties.
That kind of explains everything.
I not always agree with Setmyx. Setmyx likes Warden.
True.
No, I don't
Alright.
like Warden.
I think I'm ready to speak up here. So
All right,
basically-
Legion. Drop the knowledge, please. 4v4's stamina.
On the contrary, I think stamina is for the most part fine. And I'm gonna maybe speak an unpopular opinion here, but in 44, it's like when I play 44, I do not feel stamina at all. Almost, it's completely fine to me. In 1Cs, however, depending on the character, you might not want to use your heavies or your UB mix-ups at all, just because the opposite character can punish you too well for you being out of stamina.
Never
So
feel
that's an issue.
stamina in fours. You never hit a bear trap before?
Basically, if you're playing, for example, Black Mirror, and opponent parries your UB, and then you're out of stamina, if you mess up while being out of stamina, you know it's your fault, and whatever. Maybe you didn't deserve to be out of stamina for being parried on 1 UB. That's a little toxic. Maybe getting parried on heavy shouldn't consume that much stamina, but it's not that big a deal. Maybe you should consume a little less. Like right now, it's what, 60%? Sound crazy? Maybe it should be 40 or 30. However, if you're playing against Warden or Kiri, you got out of stamina against those guys, you're in for a roughie. And you might not want to use your UBs at all. And as you know, Warden can also punish your bashes on reaction. And
Yep.
if you so you don't want to bash him, you don't want to UB him. You don't really want to do anything. So and if you're playing even worse character like George, you're getting parried UOS, you do bash. He either eats it and doesn't take damage, or he doesn't eat it and punishes you for damage. Like, some like most characters are just shit, I feel like.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's
trash.
probably true.
Yeah, I think there's only maybe a couple
Something I
characters
just
that
thought
aren't.
of. You know what people do in fours a lot? Zor. And you know what costs a lot of stamina?
Zors.
Zor.
True.
I wouldn't like to question your ability to speak on force, but can you maybe like give an opportunity to actual players speak on the game mode, because I'm kind of big in there.
I don't know. I beat EDA once.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, on Christmas or something, when you had all the powers and Santa Claus just whisper in your ear, telling you what to do.
Yeah, I had the real coaches. Santa Claus.
Yep.
All I know is I agree with the statement. In 4v4, you do use a lot of moves that consume a lot of stamina. As Black Prior, maybe not. Black Prior doesn't really use his zone in 4v4, but a lot of other characters, JJ, Kansei, whatever other character you might play, Raider, all those do consume
Oh,
or use
yeah.
a lot of stamina.
Yeah.
Raiders
Raider.
war.
Yeah, Raider. Raider's a big example.
So does how stamina works now affect the competitive viability of some of the characters that we have that aren't
Excuse me,
in
Mr.
meta?
Host.
Yeah.
Can we actually discuss some first?
No, what do you
I
mean?
wanna kind
We're
of-
still discussing. We're going from a different
No,
perspective.
No, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to kind of ask more questions
All
to
right,
those
okay,
guys I'm kind of discussing with.
All right. I'll give you
So
two questions.
basically,
Two questions.
These guys are saying, okay, like zones consume some, stamina or something.
Yeah. True.
Which situations would you be pressured on stamina to the point of it matters too much and you don't want to attack because of that? In 4v4. At what point?
About any team fight. If you go out of stamina in a team fight, it could be team fight losing,
Yeah.
because you are gonna get outnumbered because your character is now incapacitated. So
And here's another thing about it too. Like a zone takes half your stamina, so if you zone once, then people know you can't zone again for a while. So like you're also hindering your options, because they're like, oh, well, you don't have any stamina. Well, then they know you can't attack, and then they can attack. Well, they can't.
That's really sad. Alexa played Despacito. That's so sad.
True.
Well, look, there's this guy called Big Boss, right?
Yes.
That's Lawbringer for people who don't know. Continue. Not everybody's familiar, Legion. You have to.
That's Lawbringer for people who don't know, but I don't know these people, and I don't think I'm willing to know them. So, with that being said, that character can kind of zone, and in a team fight, the main objective of a team fight in 4v4 is manually to, clear some minions in there.
that's
So
only
that guy,
mid.
yeah, so that guy's gonna zone, and then he's gonna zone again. The guy said you can't zone for a while, and that while is called 2 seconds. So he's gonna zone again in 2 seconds, and again and again and again. There is no punishment for it, so he's just gonna kind of take all
Except
your
there's
minions and
Every
then-
bash can punish it, and superior blocks can punish it.
And BP flip can punish it.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to punish it.
Yeah,
Hyper armor
yeah,
can
that's,
punish
That's
it.
what I said, unpunishable entirely. So
And even then, you are imagining a situation with a character that has body count and is in mid. There's lots of team fights that aren't in mid, and lots
Yeah.
of characters that don't have body count.
well, I don't want to talk about this, guys.
Ah, I see.
I just know that if Big Boss is allowed to Zor 24/7, I'm in for a bad time.
But
Oh,
but
Big
he
Boss
isn't.
is
I mean,
allowed to do
Right.
a lot of stuff.
if he's able to zone so much, then you as a Black Prior are doing something wrong, because you should be close to him and flipping those zone attacks. It's your job in a team fight.
No, it's not.
It kinda is, but sure.
What's Blackbriar's job then, Legion, in a team fight?
In a team fight, his job is to kind of pop off and make it big for the team.
If you
that's
want to
what I-
make it big, if you want to make it big for the team, you have to disable their team fighters.
Yeah.
They can't punish Lawbringer. You can. You can disable him. You can take him out. Same with Raider.
Look, he's got too much HP. I'm not gonna even touch that kid. Like, I'm
It's like
just gonna
four-
scream, "Ghost, you deal with him." I'm gonna, go big. I'm not even
Bro.
touching that guy.
If you are putting him in a situation where he's able to zone attack 24/7. If you flip him 4 to 5 times, he's dead.
Yep.
Yeah, well, what am I playing? Mario Kart? I'm not just gonna stare at the guy trying to flip him. I'm playing a team fight. I'm making it big here.
You don't have to stare at him. You can still target swap your UV.
Mhm.
Well, that's not what I'm doing. I can tell you that.
Then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, what are you doing then, Legion?
I think I kind of described the situation already. So.
Okay.
He's going big, guys.
He's
He's going
popping
big.
off.
You're just going big, popping off. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm living it big time.
Okay, so then back to my question before Legion said he had more questions. Does how stamina currently works? Does that hinder how good some characters are, how competitively viable they are? Because we have the top like 5 or 6 characters that people will normally rotate through. Are there any characters who would be better because of stamina, or is it all just everybody's outclassed for other reasons? Legion, I'll ask that to you first.
Yeah, so that's a big one. So I'd say yes, stamina is an issue and everything, right? But no, it's like stamina being a little bit less punishing. 2 shit characters aren't gonna make them good, really. So, in my opinion, no. Maybe somebody else has another opinion, which I'm willing to hear right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually agree with Legion. Most characters are just too trash. I don't think it would make a huge difference for a single character, but it would make a difference overall in how the game feels. I think the only character that would actually be affected by it would probably be Big Boss, because Big Boss drains a lot of stamina. If you had more stamina and he wouldn't drain so much, he would probably fall off a little bit. Not too much because his punishes deal a shitload of damage, but at
Right.
least he wouldn't be able to put you out of stamina after one parry.
I mean, I think there'd be a few characters that might rise a bit and fall. Like Raider, I feel like he might go up a bit since his main offense is Zor related. So if Zor's costed less stamina, then he'd be able to use Zor a bit more. But aside from that, there's just no like characters that would like raise like to the top of the tier just because they have more stamina.
To be fair, I kind of disagree on that one with Raider
Yeah,
because
same.
Raider, sure, he can zone attack a little more, but his mix-ups are trash. For the most part, they're reactable, and if a mix-up is reactable, then it's not a mix-up. So just because he can use his reactable moveset a little more doesn't mean it's good.
Well, wait, I thought we were talking about 4v4s.
Yeah.
I mean, even in 4v4s, I don't see that it's going to make a difference. I mean, in
Hold on,
4v4, like Legion said, you have team fights in mid. He has body count. He doesn't have a stamina issue there really. On side points, not a huge issue either because you want to play more defensively and farm more revenge because revenge is broken. I don't know. I don't see Raider really rise from that. Like, sure, he can maybe attack a little more, but even then, it's not his main job. Like Raider doesn't shine in team fights. He shines on side points. He shines on ledging people. He shines on ganks.
When
Team
we
fights
say
aren't
team
his main
fight,
strength.
He kind of shines in team fights, though. It's unfair to say.
Not
pretty
too
good
much.
at
I don't agree.
everything. But like, are we talking about team fights like 4v4s or like 2v2s and above?
But anyway, can I speak first?
No. You can speak, but let Kai finish.
At least think you got it. That's something.
Mr. Host, you're having a stroke or what?
What? no. Let Kai finish. Let Kai finish.
Okay, sorry.
But no. I mean, I just asked a question. Like, what are we?
I
are we
mean,
describing fights as
I think
2v4?
for Raider, it doesn't make a difference. If it's 2v2 on a side point or 4v4 on a side point on mid, it's played more or less the same. The only difference is either you are on mid and you have body count or you don't. But if you have body count, then the stamina changes wouldn't affect Raider too much. And on a side point, maybe a little bit. You could zone maybe twice instead of once.
Yeah, that's what I was
But
saying.
even
It's like
then-
it's not a huge difference. Not maybe even a noticeable difference, but like, or well, it is slightly noticeable.
Sure,
Like, it's the same
gonna
thing.
be-
Like
yeah,
with
like,
Warlord, if you could zone more as Warlord, like you'd know.
yeah, sure, it's gonna be a difference. Not disagreeing on that one, but I doubt that the difference is significant enough for it to really matter in this situation for the character at least.
Yeah, when I meant raise, I didn't mean like raise above anyone else. I just meant like if you were like listing, say like Raiders at a I don't know 70% good level, maybe it'd be like
Yeah.
71.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah, okay,
Raider
I
can
agree.
rise up a little further because we're not seeing enough Raider play
True.
right now.
Need more.
Yeah, just buff Bear Trap.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't agree with the stamina affecting Rider in this case because let's talk about 1v1 for a second.
Yeah.
Because I know it's not my main game mode and but still. So basically, Rider's main offense will come from kind of counterattacking and hitting random stunning taps. And stunning taps, as you know, drain a little bit of stamina, right?
True.
There's also his knee drains a little bit of stamina also. So if stamina is affected, I think like you're not gonna be spamming Riders or sure you can pull it out a little bit and it's your main offense tool. but you're not going to be spamming it out because it's kind of slow, and you're probably going to try and counterattack a little bit in there. So I think if all characters have more stamina, it would attack Rider in a negative way. That's how I feel.
Because you think Raider wouldn't counterattack as much.
Yeah. I think he is on the end of the character. Like it would affect Black maybe to the end where he can attack more. Maybe some other characters like Warden. But those guys that tend to counterattack, I think they will suffer. And Rider is one of those. Unless you're on console. Maybe you are.
Right.
I'm not assuming anything.
Yeah, that's a good caveat to mention, is that the majority of what we're going to be talking about will be more pertaining to PC over console, because console is completely a different beast than PC For Honor is. In console gaming, you can actually attack more because things are.
This game's worse.
Yeah.
Well,
So yeah, while I agree with points Mixer brings up, I don't agree with Kai for other reasons. So in the end of the day, I think Kai is completely clueless.
yeah.
Mixer is right,
100%
and I have another opinion. That's kind of it.
All right. So it sounds like the consensus is giving more stamina or anything like that won't really help characters move up. So then, if it's not going to really help characters that much, then why do things need to change? If it's
quality of life.
Quality of life, yeah.
Like you're like, hey, I want to do a move. Well, I don't want to wait 5 minutes to do a move. So you have more stamina and you can do that move.
I mean, that change isn't a change that affects a single character. It affects all characters. This will help multiple characters to sustain offense much better. But since it's not a change for one character, but for all characters that at least have some form of offense will be able to sustain offense a little better. Which means, sure, the characters that have no offense, they've always been trash, they will remain trash, that's not going to change anything for those. But those that are actually somewhat viable, they will all kind of, rise evenly, which will make the game feel a lot better. It's also going to change the risk-reward ratios. Like I said earlier, the risk-rewards are completely all over the place, especially with stamina, because stamina pressure matters a lot, especially in 1v1s. And in 4v4 I guess, because it incapacitates a character if you don't have stamina. So it's going to make the game feel a lot better overall.
Makes the game more fun.
Yeah, but I don't really want to get spammed to death.
You don't
I mean, if you're out of stamina, you're just free to get spammed.
I'm not gonna be out of stamina. I'm a good player. I control my stamina.
You sure about that? I have certain screenshots.
Well, hypothetically speaking.
Right. But as a good player, you should be able to manage your stamina better than the average For Honor player. Is that what you're trying to say, Legion?
No, I'm trying to say that how do you counter heavy spam if it doesn't drain stamina?
You block?
You play as big boss and you parry for 55 damage.
Yeah.
Well, what if they feint a lot? There's just no stopping it. They either feint or heavy.
Spam.
There's no stopping it.
So when you say spam, you're not necessarily talking about just like light spam. You're talking about like fate spamming, like heavy.
He's
spam.
just gonna mix up too much. I can't deal with that.
Yeah, but that's your issue. Hello?
Yeah, I mean this game needs more mix-ups, more actual mix-ups, not like Raider mix-ups, like Kiri mix-ups or Warden mix-ups.
Well, it's my issue. Well, it's my issue. The devs imply that my issue is everyone's issue, so if I'm bad, they're gonna help me out.
Yeah,
that's true. If you can't deal with spam,
they're gonna help me out.
But
so
there is no spam. You are putting us in a situation where your opponent spams feints. If your opponent spams feints, you just press the guard break button.
True.
Yeah, that's another question, actually.
Yeah, we're kind of going towards the other topic.
We're transitioning a little bit here. The last thing I wanted to ask was what you guys think could be potential fixes for this, because if buffing the stamina pool overall won't necessarily raise one character above another, but it'll just raise everybody else up because they have more mix-ups. Should anything else be done besides increasing stamina pools? You talked about parries being reduced. with how much they take. Should the stamina that moves take to actually execute them versus getting blocked or getting whiffed, should that change as well, or are those in a good spot?
Well, I think that all stamina penalties, like block specifically, that should be removed outright together. Like, I don't see why you're punished for the opponent blocking you. Whiffs could probably go too, but you could leave like maybe a small like 10 or not 10, maybe like 5 stamina addition. Parries, I do think should drain a bit of stamina, as long as they're not dealing as much damage. But it's not something like right now. They multiply the stamina value of the attack by 6. So heavies, or no, it's by 7. So heavies take 84 stamina, which is over 2/3 of most people's stamina. So I think maybe something like a 20 stamina drain might be more appropriate. So you're just not like, losing or going out of stamina for 1 parry. Especially the characters who like bash you for their stamina punish. Like you get parried by black, then you get bashed for even more stamina damage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
I don't.
You don't.
Okay.
All right, let's hear your point.
Yeah, why don't you agree, Legion?
I think some characters are going to fall off the meta, like George. And
George. Wow.
Fall off the
I haven't
meta. He's
seen
not even
him
meta.
enough in the meta.
I wanna kind of see more viability in like lower tier characters like George's, and I think right now he's in a good spot because he's a stamina bully. He kind of makes you work for that stamina.
Right. Okay, Legion, so I have a
George
question.
is not a meta.
No, actually,
Okay.
real quick.
Yeah.
Before we were talking about characters like going up or going down because of stamina changes, yeah, like I agree with Legion. George would drop down if he can't get you out of stamina with 1 heavy parry. Like, what's George
He's
gonna
already at the
do?
bottom. He's already at the bottom. He can't drop any
he
further.
can't go
What
down
do you
any
mean?
further. But that's actually something I was going to ask. Is like, okay, if we're increasing stamina pools and things are costing less stamina to do, does that destroy people like Raider, like George, like anybody else who the idea is to manipulate your opponent's stamina pool in order for you to get to your offense?
I think stamina bullies are like just bad design For Honor.
Same.
Just
Okay.
remove them. Just change them into something else.
So you don't think it's
Oh,
something
the
that could be
bullies are not
interacted
good.
with in a healthy way?
Yeah, I think they'll always be unfun to play against, no matter. Like if they're good, they're obnoxious. If they're bad, they suck. So
Yep.
you do.
The issue
Quite
is
frankly, I don't
Yeah.
think you guys are qualified to speak on what's good design and what is not. Well, let's leave that to the developer team. Great guys.
the issue here is with stamina bullies. Their inherent game design revolves around disabling your moveset, more or less, because stamina is a resource you require to even throw at any moves. So whatever you do, stamina bullies are never healthy game design.
It's true.
Okay.
Like, I think the developers like they compare it to Shaman, but like when you're bleeding from Shaman, you can still play the game. You just have
Right.
more pressure on you.
Right.
Yep.
Like if you have no stamina, you can't do anything.
Okay.
You can still throw attacks. Just fine.
Yeah,
go out of
you
stamina?
can die for him just as much.
I don't know,
Yeah,
dude.
well,
I
because
was
still-
I was playing Shigs in a 1v1 and I was out of stamina and I killed him because I out of stamina guard broke
Yeah.
him and then he went for a leap and I out of stamina light killed him. I don't know. Legion might have a point.
Like all lowlanders
doubt.
in the game, dude, they aren't taking any punches while they're out of stamina. You're near the wall, you got GB while they're out of stamina, you die. You know, it's still a dangerous situation. So
I
it's not
see.
completely fair to say that.
All right, I agree with Legion. Let's decrease
Sure.
stamina.
Same.
So less
Stamina
stamina.
pools are too high right now. It hurts characters like George, and that's an issue. We
Right.
want George to be viable, right?
Right. So instead of fixing them on a fundamental level, we'll just screw everybody else.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm down. Okay, so then
Yeah, that sounds good.
was there anything else you guys wanted to cover on stamina before we moved over to the
I
problematic
think
moves?
we're good.
I think most people agree that stamina just needs more of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Legion?
Is there something you wanted to add before we moved on, Legion?
Kinda, yeah, actually.
Okay. All right, go for it.
So you know all these guys, like I'm playing George against Black and he's spamming his bash that does damage.
Yeah.
So, and when he's out of stamina, he can still attack, but he can't do the bash. And I'm kind of feeling good when he's out of stamina. I don't know why you guys want me to feel bad.
You are a Black Prior main. You feel bad if you're against a George. What do you mean?
Yeah, that is sure, but you guys need to kind of empathize with other people and kind of try to learn how to put yourself in their shoes sometimes.
Well, but shouldn't
Nice.
other
Don't
people
both
do
of
the
you
same
play
thing?
Black Prior?
Well, everybody should start with themselves.
Okay.
I see.
All right. Okay, so we'll move on from stamina and we'll move on to problematic moves. This is something that Legion, you and Setmyx talked a lot about. That you were talking about. There was a lot of problematic moves in the game on a fundamental level, like guard breaks, bashes, dashes, stuff like that. So talk to me a little bit about why you think these moves are flawed at a fundamental level.
All right, so the defense is a little bit tough to crack right now, just a little bit, and I feel like there's too many ways to deal with any type of attack. Dodge deals with just about anything.
Sure.
Except
And
guard break, except undodgeables, except moves that have tracking, like fucking Black Prior is unblockable.
well, yeah, if you don't do it smartly, you're gonna get hit, but probably not. So
You get hit every now and then.
it's not enough. It's too hard. It's too good right now.
But I don't think that's the issue of dodges. I think that's the issue of not having enough moves to deal with it.
Wait,
The
I thought
layers
we were
of
talking about guard break.
defense, even guard break, the move is not problematic. It's just the layers of defense you have outweigh the layers of offense you have.
It's true. There's
The layers of defense are completely fine. It's just you need more offense to deal with those moves.
Well, I think the designated move to deal with dodge is GB. Or is it not truth? I need kind of clear answer on that.
It depends. GB has multiple purposes, but you can deal with a dash with a GB or an undodgeable, yeah.
Okay, what is the move to deal with GB with dash usually?
the move to
Usually
deal
it's a
with
GB.
dash.
Yes, dash. So
Yeah,
usually it's a GB, and unless you dash out in neutral, in opponent's face at that, you can dash out in neutral, but in GB range, you know, the
I
GB
mean-
range. I feel like GB range out in neutral is too short to deal with dashes.
I do not agree, actually.
Isn't that
If
just
GB
proper
had-
spacing?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So shouldn't
Well-
players be rewarded for spacing properly, Legion?
I mean, there are like some individual moves that just like feint too slow to catch dodges. But that's the problem with those moves.
I'm not
As
talking
opposed-
about those. We're kind of talking about the mechanic, the basic ones.
All right, GB. You can catch people in the GB.
Well, he calls it proper spacing, but how do I close distance?
Walk forward.
Yeah, you walk forward.
I'm gonna walk backwards.
Well,
Well,
that's
that's
probably
the
why
problem.
you GBs are whipping.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice one.
I'm not. I won't be able to abuse my defensive mechanics if I walk forward.
Well, if you're trying to abuse defensive mechanics, why are you worrying about attacking?
Yeah, well, because I should be able to do to pull something out of my ass to attack him, but he's doing the same thing to me, so we're just both kind of being defensive bitches. So I don't know how do you deal with that shit.
Well, that is an inherent problem with the game, is it rewards defensive play, and everybody plays defensive when they want to win.
Yep.
Defense is pretty, it's pretty powerful.
And it's very good.
Basically, the issue with dodge here for me right now is that if you want to survive and the map is open, you can survive almost forever.
I mean, yeah, but like I said, that's not an issue with dodges. That's just the lack of tools you have to counter those dodges.
What kind of tool do you think I need to kind of deal with that?
Mechanics such as undodgeables, we have that mechanic, it's just we don't use it enough. Give characters more undodgeables, and then you're fine.
All right, so I'm ready to move on to the next move like that. which is a little problematic for me.
Okay.
What is it?
Which move is that?
Maybe somebody once said something about the dodge while we're at it.
I'm good.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so the next move is problematic, and it's supposed to be countering the previous problematic move, but it has problems of its own. It's called GB.
Wait, I thought we were just talking about
No,
GB.
we were talking about dodges.
Oh,
We were
GB
talking about
dodge.
dodge.
Yeah. The counter to
GB's kind of got
dashes.
involved because yeah. So
Okay, what's
basically,
the issue with
GB
GBs?
is kind of shutting me down a little bit too hard. Because when I finally close this distance I mentioned earlier, when I'm kind of in my opponent's face and I'm ready to go all in with my feints and everything, the GB comes in and I'm getting GB'd. And I feel very bad about myself. And it's a little problematic for me.
Do
And
you?
I want other guys in here to kind of explain how GB works as intended if it kind of just shuts on my offense and doesn't catch any defensive mechanics.
Well, if you want to say
Eh,
works as intended, I don't think GB does work as intended because I'm pretty sure it was intended to like stop
Break your
people from
guard.
blocking. Yeah, which it definitely doesn't do.
I mean, I don't agree that you get shut down by GBs. Like, every time you try to GB me, I just light bash you. One sec.
Well, some characters, I don't know if you guys noticed, but some characters from season 1 onwards up to this point, they got shut down by GBs a little bit too hard.
Like who?
Such as Kiri, for example. Like the guy you're pairing a little bit of his heavy, like he's playing against Gladiator, let's say, all right? He's trying to mix up his timings to hit him out of his Zor or something. And then Gladiator notices, okay, my opponent's not really willing to throw a heavy out. So he's just gonna GB you over and over. You have too little tools to deal with that. And
Wow, sounds like a
so,
Kiri problem.
Yeah.
so-
Sounds like your toolbox is a bit too small right now.
It's the same issue again, just like I said earlier. The move itself is fine. It's just that your character doesn't have enough tools to deal with that.
Well, I mean, personally, I think GBs deal a bit too much damage for some characters, but that's just something just like reducing damage overall since everyone.
Yeah,
deals
damage is just
damage.
overall too high.
Yeah.
okay, so for me, I feel like you shouldn't be able to throw on GB.
Throw?
Yeah.
So you don't think guard
So you
break
mean
should be
like
in the
wall
game?
splats?
Wait, how would you
Yeah.
get a wall splat if you couldn't throw? Would you only
Not
be able
with
to
the
use
GB. Not with the GB.
wall
I don't
splat
know.
moves?
But basically,
Bashes?
there are some bad points on 4v4 maps. I'm sure some people are aware. It wouldn't be a For Honor map without environmental hazards after all.
True.
Very
So
true,
there are
very
guys
true.
that don't know anything, how to play or anything, but they play Warlord on a bad map. And they, you know what? Which problematic move they abuse? They abuse the GB.
I feel like I fought some matchmaking warlords. Yesterday, actually, I was playing some matchmaking. It's actually true. And I was playing on Harbor, and I found one of those warlords you just mentioned. And I realized that this kid will use this very problematic move against me. You know what happened? I pressed the light attack button, and he ate 32 damage every single time. So, I don't know.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't smart about it. If you're kind of smart about it, then yeah,
There's nothing to be smart about it, because if I don't use any moves that have chibi vulnerability, then he's not gonna get a chibi.
You can
well, you're also
technically
playing
get
black,
GB'd
right?
out of play.
Yeah.
And black's lights kind of deal damage heavies. Damage or
Even if I
heavies.
were even if I were PK, it wouldn't have changed anything. Even if I were Warden, it wouldn't have changed anything, because you know that this guy will use chibi to push you off the map. So you just either use tools that are rarely getting chibi'd, if at all ever chibi'd, or you use moves that can be used outside of chibi range using proper spacing.
All right, so you're fine with just this retarded cheese with GBs just hitting
It's
you
not
out of
cheese.
everything
It's not working. He didn't kill me a single time with it.
because he's bad.
Because good people wouldn't do that. There's just too much risk involved. People that know that you're gonna GB will not get GB'd.
I mean, part of me wants GB to be like an actual grab, where it's like, oh, it can only be, there's no counter guard break. You make it so most moves don't have much GB vulnerability, and the only way to stop a GB is through attacking. But at the same time, like as far as the game's come, that'd be like a huge change. So I don't even know if that's possible anymore.
I would agree if this game was 1v1 oriented. In 4v4, I don't like this.
Game's tough.
It's tough.
Alright, what's next?
So what is Legion for you? What is the proper way or proper implementation of guard breaks? If you're seeing this move as a problem with the things that you're experiencing, like what's the play for you personally? Like what should be done?
All attacks should be GB invulnerable. Absolutely.
Invulnerable, so 0 MS vulnerability.
Yes.
But
And then
just imagine getting Warden top heavy out of every GB attempt.
So wouldn't that then shut down? Like what is the purpose of that? Are you doing that because you think it'll shut down the defense that it makes, or what?
the guys say you're gonna get heavied on every GB attempt. I say that feints are still vulnerable and GB nets heavy damage. So no, really, it's not a big issue.
We actually had a test build, a public test build. It's been a while. It was probably like a year ago or even more, where
Yeah, I
we
remember
had
that.
all moves with 100 MSGB vulnerability. I don't know if you remember that. And
I
it didn't
remember
go
that.
anybody's way because all we would do was spam heavies. And even feints did have GB vulnerability, but your GB cannot be timed to a feint. All we would do was spam feints, hope he would bounce off, and if he bounces off, you get a free GB. So no, I completely disagree with that implementation.
Well, people press buttons, right?
Not really.
So
Feint spam, OP, just like Legion said.
Right, yeah. People don't really push buttons. That's the problem. They can't.
They would if they didn't get shut down by GB.
no, they
The
can't. Not
GB
just
stops. GB it's the ultimate. GB.
Well, look, if the guy is spamming feints, you kind of light at him.
Right.
It should net you heavy damage because you attacked him because he wanted to do something.
Wait, what happened?
what?
Okay, he wanted to kind of mix you up with his feint, and then you get GB for no reason, just because you decided GB at a neutral.
It's not for no reason. You see him feint, you press GB, and he gets caught by it because he feinted one too many times. If he had let go of one of his heavies, he would counter GB with a heavy.
Well, let's
I've
just
done that
say,
multiple times.
let's just say I appreciate the testing build you mentioned more than what we have right.
I mean, you got okay, sure, whatever.
So you think that making everything with zero GB vulnerability would improve offense?
Yeah. But then the parries need to be reworked, and I think that's a mechanic that should be discussed also.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. What about parries needs to be reworked?
Could somebody else start on this one?
I can start.
Okay.
Too much damage. Or actually,
much
too much
damage?
everything. Too much stamina damage. Too much damage. You know, just
Yeah.
it's kind of like you get a parry, and you win.
Also, one thing that is problematic with parries is the fact that the parry window is way too generous. You can buffer your parry, you can parry on reaction to parry flicker indicator, you can parry on reaction to animations. Getting a parry is just way too easy in general.
Okay, so I remember Ice Guys said before that For Honor at Lane would be boring because we parry. That's exactly what he said. Because we parry! Was he right on that? People laughed at him at the time. It turns out he was actually a prophet. It's just because we parry, right? The game sucks because we parry. Period.
Period.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I think defense is a problem, and obviously parrying is kind of part of defense. But I don't know if I agree to the extent that Mr. Ice Guys has said.
I just think getting parries is too easy. They need to shorten the parry window. What they could do for that is just change the window to the same window you have for deflects, which is 66 milliseconds as opposed to the current 200 milliseconds.
Yeah, but at the same time, That's putting it at the end of the that's the later part of the window, current window, so you'd still have like reactable feints.
No, it will be 166 in total because you can pay the last 100 milliseconds and then you have 66 at the end, so it's 166 in total. In the very best case, you might be able to react to the animation, but I highly doubt you're going to reaction parry with a 66 milliseconds parry window, especially if you can't buffer your parry.
I don't know. I wouldn't underestimate the power
Wait,
of
wait,
people
wait.
like Danny.
Did you just say 66?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that the speed of light or what?
Mm.
Not quite.
It's the same window as deflects, man.
What are deflects? I don't use that.
I don't use it either. But that's what deflect is.
It's-
66
so
millisecond.
It's
window.
something you do when you try to style on your opponent, Legion.
My character doesn't have that option, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Can't wait for Shigoki to get a deflect.
I see.
That's what Shigoki needs.
Exactly.
I've also kind of noticed the patterns. So assassin characters, they have reflex guard, and they kind of suck for that reason alone.
Reflex guard sucks. Yeah.
Yep.
Remove it.
And what they get in exchange for that is deflect.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that kind of the whole thing is kind of flawed a little bit in there.
Yep.
Sometimes you get solid guard and a deflect, like Val.
Oh yeah.
True.
And your deflect does 57 damage for some.
But even that makes your dodge just kind of suck dick, actually.
Well, here's the
What?
thing, like, maybe you want, like, I don't know how I feel this, but maybe, like, if all dodges worked like Valks where the guard disappears during the dodge, because currently if you try to, throw an undodgeable to catch a dodge, solid guards can just be like, I can block during my dodge. So then what do you do?
Yeah. I
get
agree.
chip
During
damage.
dodges you shouldn't have guard. It's bad.
So, speaking of having guard during dodges, is that how does that work? So some characters have that, and some other like when you dodge as Black or Wukong, your guard kind of moves to where you dodge. For other characters, it's where it was before the dodge, or how does it work?
Yeah.
Yes.
For some
That is
characters, it just
exactly
stays on
how-
the same side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You should not have like that's also a dodge. Like it's just too powerful. You say attacks catch it, attacks this, attack that, but the odds feel like heavily in the favor of the guy that dodges.
I mean, yeah, that's what I
That's 'cause
mean
they
when I
usually
say that the
are.
layers of defense outweigh the layers of offense.
Yeah. To like
Choose
adding undodgeables, like Setmyx said earlier, to more characters in the game would be helpful to counter that.
Yeah, but then he can still block sometimes, or most of the time.
Well, your
I mean, it
solution, you have two
implies-
solutions. Remove
Yeah.
guard during dodge or just make undodgeables unblockable. But I feel like it's easier to just remove guard during dodge. Probably be
Yeah.
healthier for the game as well.
I mean, just imagine a fucking undodgeable, unblockable Black Prior heavy in mid team fights.
Oh,
Damn, no,
jeez.
nah, dude.
No thanks.
I'm not about that life.
No,
dude.
it's too. It's too much. It's too much compensation.
Yeah, just remove guard during dash and then you're fine.
No, I actually like that idea.
Shut the fuck up.
All right, but only give it to a warlord, no other character. So you have undodgeable, unblockable zone attacks.
Hmm.
That's
not.
too much.
That's not
That's
feintable.
too
Oh,
much.
okay, so it's too much for warlord. He can't even feint it.
Yeah, that's
A
too
black?
much, man.
Nah, that's fine. You can do undodgeable, unblockable into unblockable.
Wait a second here. Are you calling me? Do you think I'm interested in that or what? I just want black players to have fun in the game.
What do you?
So maybe-
What do you mean? Black Prior players probably have the most fun in this game. They can actually attack.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
warlord.
Okay. Well,
Well, like, I don't know how to. I don't know what to ask about that. I don't know how to make Black Prior players have fun. Like, I figured they would be having fun.
They
I
just
want
need
to
one
talk
or
more
two more
about.
options.
Excuse me. I want to talk more about the deflect because we're kind of talking about the problematic mechanics. So, is deflect too bad, or it's
No.
it's fine?
I think
deflect is fine. It's just that parries are too strong.
I think some deflects do too much damage, but aside from that,
Okay, so I think you're a hypocrite.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking about you. I think you're a hypocrite. You're saying
Okay.
deflect is fine against parry being too strong, and yet you say defense just has too many layers when dash is clearly too strong.
He didn't say they had too many layers. He said that that offense has less layers.
Yeah.
Well, then parry is fine too. Just make characters.
No, it's not.
No.
Just make all attacks have variable parry timings, like Kiri heavies, so people don't parry 24/7. That's it.
But no, that's not how it works.
Why? Why not?
You know very well why, because you can disable certain mix-ups if you buffer your parry. You experience that yourself. We play Black Prior Mirrors all the time. I buffer my parry all the time.
Make
you get
light
fucked by
attacks.
it.
Excuse me for interruption. Make light attacks varying timings from 400 ms up to 1,000 or something.
1,000 light.
That-
What? Can you feint this light?
No, that's a lie.
What?
And then he can buffer his. He can still buffer it for the most part, but
But if you just
Sometimes
wait,
we
wait,
That
very
doesn't
long.
fix the issue. I can still buffer my parry against your unblockable mix-up, and then the mix-up just doesn't exist anymore.
yeah, well, I just said make all moves have variable timings.
You're a
Every
fucking
single move.
stoner.
Interesting.
But I can see your points. I can see your points. I kind of agree. Parry is too strong. Yes.
Come, thanks.
Do you also agree that the damage you get from parries are too much?
As it is, yes. As Mixture proposes, which I think are good changes now. I agree. This is the first time today we agree. Yes, I agree with on his parry changes, and I don't think the parry damage would be too high if it was as he suggested.
I'm not sure if it will be too high. I feel like, yeah, I don't know if if
I
you
mean,
implemented those
if-
changes, I'm not sure.
If Big Boss is as he is, maybe it is too high. But why the fuck does he have what he's got?
Because he's the big boss. Like, who's gonna take it
It-
from him?
Personally, I feel like it just depends on how difficult parries would actually be. If this implementation turns out to be as we expect it to be, which means parries are actually unreactable, then perhaps the damage would not be too high. But I can't say for sure. Needs testing.
I mean, I think big boss's damage will always be too high.
Yeah, Big Boss is too high, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
like the usual parry punishes on average, I think they're fine. If you change the parries.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I always thought that like the max damage off of like a light parry should be 30 damage or something like
I
that.
thought 35 would be a good max. Like, if you want a
Some
high
people
damage
say-
character, give him 35.
Some people
Average.
say that if you parry 400 ms light, you should be rewarded because you have a big dick. I do not agree with that at all.
I don't
But they
agree
have a-
either.
Like these big dick guys with their deflect montages and montages appearing MS lights can kind of suck it. 30 damage is very good.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Like, even if you can't react to 400 MS lights, if you get 3 times the damage for one parry, you just gotta make 1 out of every 3 correct reads and you win.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all about those reads in the end of the day.
Right.
All about those reads.
That's what it should be about, but this game doesn't really do that too well, except with like maybe one character or two.
No, it's about those reads. That's all. Just reads all day, every day.
So are we still talking about deflex? Are we the design of them from each character's perspective? It seems to be where the identity of the character is. Like Berserker's deflect is a guard break. There's a bleed stab off of PK. Like, are all of these good? Like, I know some of them, like for example, Gladiators. He can't really deflect against a Berserker, for example, because it doesn't go through hyper armor. Should they go through hyper armor, or should these moves not really be looked at because they're not really viable to use?
Here's the thing. Deflects are a way to punish external attacks, kind of like superior blocks do. So I don't know. I feel like if they could go through hyper armor, be even harder to attack in team fights. So I'm not down for that.
I don't know about that personally. Would need testing.
You know, you said GB is person's identity. I was triggered by that.
Well, I'm saying that this is where the devs have kind of put the flavor of the characters into.
What is it? Bears
Well,
him
he's
all.
he is a problematic character then in my book. You know,
Because he gets a
when-
GB.
you know which other character kind of has GB as a big part of his toolkit? It should be on the first page as the first move. It's Big Boss.
Big
And it's
boss.
not because it's not because it catches dodges. It's because if you're this guy's fainting a little bit too much because he doesn't want to get parried, I'm just gonna GB a few times.
Highly disturbed individual.
Yeah, highly.
Hmm.
So,
Okay, so we've talked about GBs, we've talked about dashes. What the heck? My cat just whoa. Okay, anyway, we talked about GBs, we talked about dashes, we've talked about deflex.
and about your cat.
Yeah, and my
talked
cat.
about
He just literally jumped down 2 flights of stairs. I just caught it at the corner of my eye. So we talked about deflex. What about bashes? Like, what do you guys think, if anything, are problematic about bashes? I know we talked about stamina a little bit in the first topic. Is there anything else?
When a bash has hyper armor and very low recovery and can be done out of a side dodge, it's probably a bit problematic.
Hyper armor? Oh yeah, okay, you're talking Shoff.
Yeah. It's a pretty powerful move.
It is.
Mm,
It can
I
trade,
don't
but
know.
it's not always in the Lawbringer's favor, though.
I mean, that's true, but it's
The
still-
No,
issue,
it's always in his favor. Let's be honest. Too much.
yeah,
HP.
he gets a mix up afterwards. But
And too much HP too.
the issue is, I feel like the move is, if you look at it on paper, I feel like the move is okay, it's fine, but it's very unfun to play against. It's very disruptive for the flow of the game, which is why most people see the move as an issue.
You know what else is very disruptive for the flow of the game?
What?
GB.
Blocking.
Big Boss.
Yeah, he's the one who has that move. No shit.
Yeah, and he's got a few moves also. His moveset is high HP, high punishes, and GB and shove. That's kind of his moveset.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he's got a what's it called? Enhanced lights. Yeah, that's the name. So he just enhanced his opponent to attacking him a little bit.
I see.
I'm glad that happened.
Okay.
But I'm glad you mentioned bashes because yes, they're fucking horrible.
Why?
Horrible mechanics.
Why are they horrible? Like, you're saying they're a horrible mechanic? Just like overall?
Yeah, horrible.
Okay. Why?
Okay, why?
Horrible.
I see. He's having a
That's not
PTSD
enough
attack. Legion with the Vietnam flashbacks.
So they where do I even start with this? Man. So if the character can punish your bash, it's because like which characters have those bash type attacks, right? They're either centered around that or supposed to be.
Like-
So
You think Lawbringer's supposed to be centered around his bash?
yeah. Let's
Okay.
kind of move away from that guy right now.
All right,
and,
all right.
Think
all right.
about the actual bash guy. Like when I'm thinking bash, who am I thinking? I'm thinking Conqueror, obviously. And if you
How do
can't
you,
punish
like-
his bash, GG's. If you can, GG's. You know, problematic in my views.
So it's a problem if there's a move that you either win if your opponent can't deal with it, or you lose if your opponent can't deal with it. That's a problem for you.
My problem is I think they need to kind of take it a route. Like, what do we want? Do we want neutral game or do we want just offense, just any offense? Because I don't think Warden and Black belong in the same game. Because
Black and Warden.
Interesting.
yeah, because these guys like they both have offense kind of, but they work completely different. And I don't know if it's a good thing as it is.
I don't know. I mean, makes it more interesting than just copying pasting the same moveset over and over again.
Yeah, some variety is good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I do. No, it's not.
All right.
You do.
So you want only one character in the game? Is what you're saying?
What character do you want?
You can have variety, but not that drastic because
It's not
Warden
that
is
drastic.
Warden is like I'm saying neutral game against mix. Like
Hmm.
mix-ups slow that you have to just guess. Those kind of mix-ups, like Warden shoulder barge.
Mm-hmm.
So my issue with this is that those characters that kind of have offense out of neutral or supposed to. I mean, are these characters supposed to have offense out of neutral? Is Black supposed to have offense out of neutral?
Yeah.
Yes.
If the opponent can punish it, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Because like I said at the beginning, the layers of defense outweigh the layers of offense.
No, I think if the punish is just more, it's never gonna work.
Even if the punish isn't more, if you can just react to it often enough, then it's GG's. You're not gonna use the move. Even if
Yeah.
Warden shoulder bash dealt less damage, you still wouldn't bash against a Warden because the Warden can just dash all of them.
But I don't think it's about the layers here because it's
It
kind of
is. If
you're not
Black
gonna use
Prior,
every offensive move as a character with a dash attack. You just
You-
use a dash attack. That's it.
you currently do though. Again, if you play against a Warden, you can mix up your bashes, your lightsies, chibis, and your unblockable heavy, and he will now react to all of those options consistently.
100% because that's Warden and that's how many
You
think the
played
game should be.
Clutcher played Warden against my Black Prior, you played Warden against my Black Prior, neither of you came out on top because you can't react to all of my options consistently. So no, I highly disagree.
I highly disagree with you disagreement because I think Warden is 100% favored against Black. 100%.
Then you don't know how to play the matchup.
100%. That's a. Well, okay, so I was who was I playing? I think I was playing against, was it Raw? Like a couple weeks ago in 1v1 scrims, and I thought the matchup was even, and I think Setmyx is the one who told me it was 6-4. Right? Is that what you said?
6-4 for Black Prior.
Yeah, because and he said the reason is the defensive capabilities, if I remember correctly, and there's just more options.
Yeah. I mean, you can disable multiple options Warden has with one move, and you come out on top with your damage. It's like you can bash on reaction to dash, you can light attack on reaction to dash, you can like not do that, you can just dash level 1 bash, flip level 3 bash out of range, so you can punish that.
I want to play
Like
some fours.
the entire spacing game Warden has does not exist against Black Prior.
Yeah, because that's correct actually, but because of defensive options.
Right.
Yeah, like I mean,
Which is why Black Prior is
That's fucking
favored
terrible.
against Warden.
Yeah, because Black himself can't attack neither, and he's gonna get punished every time.
No, it's not true.
It's up for the Warden player to punish him. Absolutely.
Well, I think the
You're
biggest
bad.
reason is what Setmyx is saying is the spacing game, which this is what Warden excels at, is you should be operating out of GB range of your opponent and then using shoulder bash mix-ups or whatever that way to test your opponent's reactions. If with that spacing game, you might not be able to hit bash with Black Prior, but you're still able to reliably react to what the Warden is doing. Because can't you, if they're doing a level 1, you can dodge level 1, flip level 3, right?
Yeah.
With spacing, if you space properly. So like this is, if you space like you're supposed to with Warden, you're still playing into what Black Prior can do.
Yep.
I feel like we're straying too far from the topic of bashes here. So
Bash.
Okay, so bring us back, Legion. Bring us back.
I don't know what kind of game Mixer is playing, but I thoroughly believe that bashes is offense on Black and Conquer against characters with dash attacks. They don't work.
I mean, I don't disagree. Like I said, you don't want to bash against those characters, but that's not because bash is bad. That's because you lack other options. It's the same with
Well,
it's the same with every other topic we had before. Dashes are problematic, but it's not the dash issue. It's the issue the lack of tools. It's not a GB issue that GB sucks. It's the issue that there's a lack of tools. It's not bash issue. It's an issue of lack of tools, and so on.
look,
It's
look,
always
look,
the
look.
same.
Maybe I agree with you previously, but on this one, I 100% disagree. 100%.
Okay,
So what do you
you're
think should
disagreeing
change
on
for
something
Bash?
that has the same principle.
I just don't believe that. Like your build around a bash, and opponent can punish it every time on reaction. It's not gonna work.
But not
Because
all of the
you're
bashes are on reaction, though, right? There are some you have to make reads.
I
even
mean,
then.
No,
if you
no.
make like the punish like much less, or at least make the punish less than how much damage the bash gives, then
Even
you
then.
don't have to land every bash to come out on
Here's
top.
the issue. Here's the issue. Legion just said that characters that revolve around the bash cannot attack against characters with the dash attack. And that is correct. However, a character should not revolve a single move. If a character had multiple viable moves, this would not be an issue.
Well, yeah, but as it is, the bash is all types of problematic, right?
No, bashes are fine. It's just that there's a lack of other tools. If your character wouldn't revolve around the bash only, you wouldn't have this issue.
Okay, so give me the day when they're gonna give Black 1,000 more options. Give me the date, and I'm gonna agree.
Well,
Doesn't
Just
he
about
already
black,
have
what about
good
white?
Doesn't
options?
matter. It doesn't matter whether they are going to do it or not, or when the date of that is. It, it whether it happens or not doesn't change the fact that that is the issue. If the devs can recognize that or not, that's another thing. But that's up to the devs, not to me.
Okay, what about the characters that don't have a dash attack and they just get spammed to death by bash? What about
These
those?
characters are bad too, because all characters require either a dash attack or something that is an equivalent to a dash attack, such as BP flip.
Okay, so they just need to add 1,000 more moves. Is that it?
Yeah,
It's not
I think
1,000 more moves. There's
more moves are
only
good.
a handful of characters that lack those
Okay,
moves.
dude, you're clearly saying Ubisoft employees should die a death of 1,000 moves.
Yeah, sure.
They're
their
just gonna
punishment.
die from overworking. They should do that in the next following.
Okay,
month.
so-
Everyone in Tekken got new moves. Why can't everyone in For Honor get new moves?
Yeah, hello?
It's not that many moves, too. There's only a handful characters that are unable to punish bashes.
Well, I think Legion's saying like you need the dashes, and then you have to give the tools to the other characters as well.
It's just all
Well,
types of moves.
even then, sure, they have to do that. It's how you fix the game. I mean,
Well, in that case, I agree.
Ubisoft has so much resources and assets. I highly doubt that developing those moves would really burn a hole in their pocket.
Nah, you're wrong. The way to fix the game is to make all attacks have 0 MSGB vulnerability.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
So Legion, I have a question then. Are you wanting offense to be more like what Berserker has? He doesn't rely on bashes at all. He relies on really fast
You're
You're cutting
attacks.
out. You're cutting out.
Wait.
You got cut out a
wait,
little
I'm
bit.
cutting
I
out?
didn't understand jack shit.
Okay.
Jack sound.
So is it better? Hello.
Yes, it's better currently.
Are you wanting offense to be structured more like Berserker's offense, which is just really fast delayed attacks? Because it sounds like you're not a fan of these bash
Excuse me.
mechanics.
Berserker's what?
Berserker's offense.
Berserker's what?
I don't know,
Yeah,
dude.
That's
All
what I
I'm
think.
saying is Berzin's offense revolves around fast lights and some mix-ups, quote unquote. And no bashes. That's the important thing. Like I'm asking, it sounds like you're not a big fan of bashes. So what about something like Berserker, who doesn't rely on bashes?
No thanks.
Okay. So bashes are problematic, but you don't want to take them out of the game.
I don't want offense to look like Bersen's offense, which doesn't really exist.
What if Bearson had offense?
Then yeah, I want that every character's offense to look like his, but he doesn't. So
What do you want for offense, Legion? Who do you want if you could copy paste one moveset to every character? Who would it be? Big Boss?
Probably.
Good game, Legion.
Good game.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
All right. What's next?
Okay, so I think that's pretty much all the moves we
guys,
talked.
guys. Excuse me for this blunder. I was a little distracted. First of all.
Did you check check team chat like Barricade said?
Yes. I did.
Okay.
I did check that, and that's why I wanted every character's moveset. Big ball. So I don't dislike bashes. It's just I think the reward punish ratio is just all over the place, as Mixer mentioned, and I'm not sure what the best course of action would be, but right now it's very problematic.
Okay, so bashes are fine. Punishes maybe not so much.
As it is, as with parries right now, light attacks don't make sense. But bashes against dash attacking characters don't make sense. So offense sucks.
And blocking kind of stifles all kinds of offense too. Like it just stops it dead in its track. That's actually something that both Zach and Haley talked about when I did a podcast about 1v1s. Their biggest complaint was blocking is too strong because it just completely stifles all offense unless you have enhanced lights. Like
Hell no, that's not an issue. Blocking's fine. The issue is just that there's a lack of moves that can bypass blocking. Blocking itself is completely fine.
Well, everyone's kind of abusing the parry because it's kind of easy to do and free damage, easy peasy. But I don't know about blocking after the parry's nerfed hardcore. There's kind of a lot of unblockable moves right now, right? So maybe
bunch
at
of
this
them.
point in this year, with all these new characters, maybe it's fine. It's been an issue for a long time, right? Is it fine right now? I'm not sure, but first they need to look at parry for sure before blocking.
Blocking is only an issue because you don't have tools. Blocking's fine. I get it. I get it. Like lots of people are like, dude, there's so much defense. We gotta get rid of this defense. But no, the layers of defense are completely fine. If you cannot defend, you will not enjoy the game. You do require certain layers of defense to enjoy the game. You just need more layers of offense to
Dude, I agree,
bypass
but
layers of defense.
hold on. I agree. But then I look at Valcoroni rework and I understand that, you know.
But that's an issue with the character.
No, it's an issue with the developmentation team. But
Yeah. I mean, sure, that's where the issue lies inherently.
if I'm talking right now, like they just need to change the number or something. They just need to look at the reward punish ratios before editing the moves. Like Valkyrie things. Whatever she's got.
Yeah.
okay, so we've pretty much just established that the problem is not necessarily these moves, but the layers of offense is the problem. The lack of tools to deal with all of these.
Pretty much.
Correct.
Okay.
But also, you know.
Are you checking team chat again?
No. Also, the fact that some characters can't punish something, some characters can. It's issue with moveset, but
are you wanting all of these characters to reliably punish these bashes, like for example, on reaction?
Actually, no. Completely. That's no. I think every bash should be like Warlord's head bash in terms of punishability.
Warlord's headbutt is pretty neat.
You can't punish it with dash attack. You can only punish it with prediction dodge GB. That's it.
You can punish it with dash attack. You just have to dodge in the side where he's not blocking, or like do the attack in the side he's not blocking.
Yeah.
And personally, I like that, but with less GB vulnerability or less
Personally-
GB recovery.
Personally, I'd like just honestly prediction dodge GBs only. Otherwise, just reset to neutral or dash attack cheap damage. That's kind of it.
If every character had a dash attack, you wouldn't need to have characters who rely on prediction dodge GB.
Right, but if every character had a dash attack,
Yeah, but I want the bashes to be invulnerable to dash attacks on reaction dodge.
Well, that's, yeah, I'm okay with that as well.
yeah. I mean, it would move the game more in the direction it should in terms of offense. It should be more read-based instead of reaction-based.
It's pretty simple though. You just have to
But
like lower recoveries by.
some people out there are saying we just need 1,000 more moves. So that's fine
We do.
too.
Well, I mean, you can
And I
still
don't
add
disagree.
You can have both.
that. Yeah, exactly.
1,000 more moves that aren't punishable on reaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, all I'm saying, just stop punishing lights for 3 times the damage. Stop punishing bashes for 2 times the damage. And then when those new moves come out, then we look what's going. Then we'll look kind of what's happening. That's kind of it. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay, so then
All right. What's next?
we'll move on then to Gladiator because we talked about that pretty extensively. So Glad got some changes. Obviously, the normalization of the reflex guard was good because that had been problematic for a very long time. Toe stab was sped up.
Well,
I
out of stamina.
Well, out of stamina, yeah. And he just seems to have received a lot of quality of life changes. So I'm curious as to how impactful like these changes are in terms of like 1v1s, 4v4s, like from a competitive perspective. It doesn't seem like he's really moved up in terms of viability all that much from the scrims that I've played, but he does feel
Alive.
better.
He feels alive, man. Let's be honest.
Okay, all right. So he feels. So would you say that these changes are impactful for him from a competitive standpoint?
Oh yes. He is so alive. Goddamn.
Can you elaborate on why he's more alive?
No, you start first.
I see. I'm gonna go through this game mode for game mode because these changes had different levels of impact on the character.
Wait, where is my team?
I don't know where their team is. Anyway, in 1v1s, I feel like in 1v1s it had a minor impact, a positive one. It's easier. I mean, the guard changes are obvious. They're good for all game modes. But like the mix-ups, personally, I feel like the mix-ups were unchanged. They are, for top players, still too reactable. They're still too punishable. They're still too easy to avoid, so that not many things change. The character is unfun to fight overall. I know there's certain people that think the character is better now, but personally, I think it's just a matter of people not wanting to fight the character because it's really boring. He has a good option select. He has decent dash attacks that deal good amounts of damage, albeit being light parries and having no iframes on it. But overall, looking at the character, I feel like in 1v1s he's more or less unchanged from a top level perspective. In 2v2s, he's completely unchanged. You can block attacks easier, but really your mix-ups, you don't really use them in 2v2s, too punishable. And in 4v4s is where I think the changes had the greatest impact. Not because he's better in teamfights or anything, but they also adjusted his rotation speed. It's easier to rotate now. He's on the same speed as PK and Shaman. His gank is very good now. His toe step feeds the same amount of revenge as a light attack, I believe, which is very little. The toe step also locks revenge still for an insane amount of time, actually. It's very easy to get a heavy off of it, even if the opponent gets revenge from it. Yeah, you can actually, I think somebody also discovered a toe stab vortex kind of deal, so it's really hard to avoid too once you get locked into it. I mean, in team fights, it's more or less unchanged still. 1v1 potential slightly better, not much, but it's sufficient in 4v4s, especially with feats, because toe stab deals 20 damage and zone deals 30 damage. So with feats in 4v4, his 1v1s do look better. And yeah, I think overall for Force, it had a great impact on him. So I think now with those changes, he's probably a playable character.
Okay. All right, Kai, what about you? Do you agree with what Setmyx said from your experience?
I mean, yeah, he's a lot better. I think the toe stab needs to be looked at because, like, toe stab, I don't know. Like someone was talking about the toe stab vortex, where basically you get hit by one toe stab and you kind of lose, and it doesn't feed that much revenge, so you're pretty much guaranteed to die. So I don't know how I feel about that, but it does make him a strong ganker. He's a strong ganker with fast rotations too, which is pretty good. He's definitely a lot better now.
He's actually insane, and what baffles me, how did developers think it was okay to give him the trident that he throws as a tier whatever feed, right?
Yeah,
3.
that's
It's a good feat. Deals 50 damage.
50
Quite decent.
damage.
Yeah. It's like a shaman bite. It also has insane range, actually. I remember on Overwatch, I think I was on A and I killed somebody in mid lane with trident. It was kind of crazy.
Interesting. All right, so what do you think, Legion? You said he's insane. Would you elaborate?
That's kind of it. The tier 3, too much.
So he's insane in 4s because of his tier 3.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. That tier 3
Yeah.
that received 0 changes. All right, Legion. Why wasn't he insane before though?
Oversight on the competitive player side.
Right.
I see.
Oh, that's fair.
He's
Uh,
entirely impossible.
He's impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Okay.
In what way? Like, what do you mean? Like, impossible
Too
to fight?
much. Yeah.
Are you reading team chat again?
No, I'm saying what I think.
Okay, so he's impossible. He's impossible to fight.
Yeah.
So what about him makes him impossible to fight? Is it his option select? Or
So the toe stab in tier 3. Too much.
so is it the tier not the tier 3? Sorry, the toe stab. Is it the revenge lock that's too much? That your teammate can get a heavy after you toe stab?
Yeah. I agree with what's been said about toe stab so far. I mean, I think everybody agrees it's too much.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it the revenge lock that's too much, or is it just what the move does overall is too much?
It is the singular best move in the whole game.
Is
in
it?
4v4.
Is it?
Yeah.
You sure?
Give toe step to Big Boss. GG's.
Okay, so it sounded like you disagreed, Setmyx, with that being the best move. Like, what is better than toe stab in your opinion?
Yeah, Setmyx. What is better than toe stab?
I mean, it's hard to say that one particular move is the best move in the game because moves serve different purposes. Toe stab is a gank tool. Now, I would even say that BP flip is a really good tool in 4v4, especially in team fights or in ganks too. You can really anti-gank with it quite well.
Yeah,
you can't really
fair.
you can't compare these two moves because they serve entirely different purposes. So it's hard to say that it's the best move in the game.
I think Berserker's backward zone is probably the best move in the game.
It used to be probably before it got nerfed.
Rest in peace.
Crack is suggesting that dodge shove is the best move in the game.